point was other communities advertise these positions. These positions do have of their own weight, of their own design, have essentially sunset provisions. That's why there are limits on the terms of these positions, as I mentioned, some of which are paid. I want to thank everyone who has served in these positions, paid and volunteer, for their service to the community. But once in a while, as I mentioned, it's fresh blood and new ideas are just a sound practice. And to let a little air in. It's a shame that, and in no way we all read the headlines, and in no way am I impugning these committees, but it's a shame when it takes the United States Attorney, it's a shame when it takes the New York State Comptroller, and the weight of those offices to make a change in a community. And that should not be necessary, whether it's at the municipal level or at a higher level of government.
And even as we look at these charts that we have here, we have 12/31/12, 12/31/10. If we're going on this assumption we have expiration dates for these terms, then let's abide by those. Otherwise, why do we even have terms on here? They could just stay forever, is what we're saying. So we have these organizational meetings, whether to reappoint or not to reappoint. Why should we even reappoint? Just leave them on there until the position vacates.
I think the reason
lifetime appointments,
it's a lifetime
like
appointment.
Judge.
The point I'm making, though.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And there was a question. My
Thank you,
question
Ms.
was to identify which community.
Ms. Hudak, I had the floor.
Oh, I thought you took a breath.
We just did.
I do take breaths when I have the floor also. So my point is, we have expiration date. It tells when the term expires, then we do reappoint. The point I'm making and the point you're making is that you shouldn't even have these expiration dates. We just have these people on the boards. They stay on the boards. No one knows about it until someone decides to retire or move away from the community. Then a vacancy needs to be filled, and then we fill it. That's not what I believe open government and open community should be all about. It should be about, yes, there's an expiration on this term. We look at the individual serving. We look at anyone who's interested in that position, and then we take it from there, just like any other business would be run.
Right, the reason there's expirations on the term is just to prevent, as boards and elected officials change, not to, as the political winds change, that people aren't just thrown off the boards, that there's some consistency. And at the end of every term, it gives the board an opportunity to review their performance and to decide if they want to reappoint them or not.
I understand that point. The point you're missing is that we need to open it up to other members of the community to get on these boards.
Right, but
I understand the ones who are on the board are serving part. The point is, anyone else interested, how then do they apply? Thank you.
I just want the answer to my question. What other communities do the adversary? Any other? And they do this ad hoc?
Pardon me. Go back and forth to the just, you've made your point for 3 times.
No.
I've
I haven't made a
your
point. I've asked the question.
We have an individual in the audience who'd like to make a statement. We've recognized others. Yes, Maria.
No, actually, I think that
Lynn was first.
Lynn Eckhardt had her hand
Excuse
up.
me. The chair has
Sorry,
recognized
the chair
Maria.
is the
Thank you.
supervisor, correct.
Go ahead, Maria. Please.
I guess I'm the person in question. My name is Maria DeSalvo. I live on Gage Road.
Welcome.
I've been on the planning board of Patterson for about 8 years. I've recently moved to Brewster. And the answer to your question, Patterson. Patterson has replaced people on the board. Two of the ones that I know of. There's always a new face every couple of years. I was the first woman ever on the Patterson Planning Board in 2002. I got on the board because I saw the ad in the Journal News looking for people to apply for these jobs, these positions in the town. Being recently new in the neighborhood, I said, let me figure this out. So I applied, and I didn't have much environmental background. So I went at my own expense to SUNY Purchase College and took an environmental management certificate, which is 16 credits. Environmental engineering, zoning and planning, DEIS writing, and environmental law. And then I reapplied, seeing the ad in the paper, to the planning board. And I was voted in on the planning board. Again, I was the only woman on the board, and my replacement has been a man, so there's no women on the board. I served well, didn't miss many meetings, went to every work session, encouraged a lot of the developments, although some of them were controversial. Public hearings, 700-800 people. Some of you were there for Patterson Crossing. You have to have the stomach to really see both sides of the fence in this. The reason why I didn't send the resume and the letter in earlier is because I was waiting to see the openings in the paper, which never appeared. Plus, during the month of December, I was down in New York City taking an urban planning course. So it's not only about up here, it's about the whole picture. I realized it was a little early, it was a little late sending it in, but the procedure in Patterson, when I was reappointed 3 years ago, I had 2 or 3 other people that put letters in. And you know what? Competition is good. It makes you a better person on a board to know that there's other people out there that want your position. So everybody is really on their toes. And if it's not this year, maybe next year, maybe the other appointments that Mr. Cullen has mentioned, I would be willing to serve. That's all I wanted to say. And again, Patterson.
Do you know any other
Thank you, Maria.
municipalities? Or do you know what the municipalities are that the
That advertise?
that the supervisor's referring to?
Carmel advertises. That's how I found out about it. I saw it in the paper.
But is it a
I was also on the Board of Assessment Review and on the Putnam County Agricultural Farmland Protection Board.
Do you know if it was just an open ad at any time?
No, it was usually in December that Antoinette, the town clerk, would put the ad in the pennies in the paper, the Journal News, and the other thing. And people would say, "Do you think I got a shot?" I said, "Put the letter in. It's not up to me. It's up to the town board." And when you're in the meeting, at your organizational meeting, I don't know if there's any members of any boards here, you're really on your toes because whether you're good or bad, it's good to get new blood in. And that's what I think that's the point that Dwight and Mike were making, to get new blood in, or to let people know that most of the terms expire December 31st. You should advertise ahead of time, do your interviews extensively, and give people a shot at getting on these boards. Not everybody has to be a lawyer or hold a certificate in environmental management, but common sense is a big player in any of these boards. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Maria.
Further discussion?
There's a hand up. There's a hand up.
Yes.
Thank you, Lynn Eckhart. I'm living proof if you keep applying and applying and applying and applying, you will get appointed eventually. And I really enjoy serving on the ARB. I'd like to say first that I think the 3 members that you're discussing, because I go to all the meetings, are really well qualified. And we're lucky to have them in Southeast, and that's David, Mr. Costello, of course, and Eric. They're Cypress, who I am lucky enough to serve with. I think Ann Fanesi has a good point about possible term limits on appointments, and that's something you should discuss at another point. But also, I think, I always knew, and people who are involved know they can apply, and I think it is really good to interview people. I went into it knowing it was kind of an exercise in futility many times, but I felt good about being able to interview. So opening the process up a little more is good. But people should understand that if they're up against someone qualified, that it's probably unlikely they'll be appointed. So there's some things I think you can look at, but I think in this case, these appointments are really, really strong ones. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, but it was mine. And at this time, I'd like to withdraw. Would someone else like to frame a motion with respect to these appointments? And again, I'd like to thank the volunteers and the folks who are serving the community in these paid positions and volunteer positions.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to have reappointed David Rush as a planning board member, his term ending on December 31st, 2017.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
You have to do Ellen McCoy before.
All right, with
I think
respect
we
to
also-
the additional ones,
No, we
there are the Zoning Board of Appeals. I nominate Thomas Costello, after chatting with the chairman, Mr. Colello, who's here with us tonight, his term ending in 12/31/15. Is there,
I'll second that.
Roger seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item, let's see,
We have the Architects Review Board.
let's frame an omnibus motion. So
No, I
with
think-
respect to the Architectural Review Board, I nominate, well, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that as far as, I appreciate an omnibus motion in order to move it along, but I think we would have to do each one as they go down, and I'm being told by the
I'm
town.
not sure if you voted on
Did-
Ellie McCaughey, you know.
No, we did.
Okay, so we need to vote on
You
Ellie
didn't,
McCaughey.
right.
We
I
did?
thought we did, yes, we did.
No.
No.
Okay.
You did not.
I'd
Michael
ask-
Michael made a blanket motion.
Go ahead,
He's
Liz.
reading
Okay,
everybody.
I'd make a motion that we reappoint Ellie McCaughey and her, for a term ending 12/31/15.
Roger seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Go ahead and do the next one.
I would also, I would like to make a motion to reappoint on the Architectural Review Board Eric Cypress for a term of 3 years.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? No.
No.
Motion carries 3 votes to 2. The Open Space Committee, with a term ending in 12/31/11, I nominate Don Burrows, Kerry Cunningham, Ann Finesi, Cherry Ingram, Don Aurelia, Dean Abedamarco, and Mildred Nugent as chair. Is there a second? Roger seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
You just have to change that. First of all, you have to appoint Mildred as a member and then as a chair. You just did her as a chair. She has to be a member first.
Yeah, thanks, Ruth. We just did that. And for the Teneta Lake Advisory Board, I'd like to nominate Michael, all for a one-year term, as agreed. I chatted with the chairman today. Michael Langley, Roberto DiBercio, Bob Lund, Carl Levitch. Levitch, pardon me. I need my glasses. Karen Radijak, Bob Zubricki, and Patty Borman, and to add Bill McGregor at the request of the chair.
Yes.
Is there a second? Bob,
I'll
you want a
second. I'll second.
Bob seconds. All in
Billy
favor?
McGregor?
Aye.
Bill
Yeah, Bill
McGregor.
McGregor.
Aye.
Yeah.
He's been basically coming to all the meetings, and he's very active on the board, and it's just the chairman, Bob Zabricki, asked that he could be officially made as a board member. And just so you know, all those people, because I was the liaison last year for the Teneta Lake Advisory Board, they all live in houses around the lake. They have a vested interest in the lake, and that's who all these people are. And they all, are serving the town well.
I would
Thank
just
you.
like to confirm that I said aye to that, and I'd also like to confirm that I believe that the supervisor may have misunderstood the town clerk. Apparently, in the motion for the Open Space Committee, Mildred Nugent first needs to be appointed as a member,
Correct.
and then an additional motion made to name her as chair.
No, Liz, I understood. This
It's noted,
isn't-
yes. It's noted. Thank you.
Noted, thank you.
Well,
Historic Sites Commission.
unfortunately,
Can we move on,
I don't think that, I think
Liz.
it's important enough that
Ms.
we do
Hudak,
that so
Ms.
there's
Hudak,
no problem.
Ms.
This
Hudak,
isn't student
please.
government. We're moving on.
No,
Thank
no.
you.
We have business
Okay.
tonight
No, well,
to
you're
handle.
you're
For the
operating
record,
as a...
we don't have Mildred Nugent as a chair. It was Dean, and then after that, it was Mildred Nugent as a chair, but not as a committee person. Everyone else,
I think that for purposes of making certain that we do things uniformly and in a correct way, sometimes in the supervisor's words, you need a belt and suspenders. So at this point in time, I would like to make a motion
Apparently it's gonna be fun.
to name Mildred
Then he's not
Nugent
enough.
as a member of the Open Space Committee.
I'll second that.
No, you weren't recognized by the chair. The Historic Sites Commission, Daniel Silage. I nominate, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry, what did we?
Motion
No,
carries
no.
unanimously.
Roger, you seconded it, correct?
No, I second that, Ms.
Well, I have Roger, thank you.
Item 18,
Roger will
Wait a
be
minute,
nominated.
motion to
Historic-
appoint the planning board chairman. Go ahead,
Historic
Roger.
sites, I want to back up a moment.
Yeah.
Sure.
Kathy Croft, is she on the list here? Yeah, she's on the major package, so she's included in historic sites?
Yeah, I believe she needs to
It was
be,
penciled in there.
she needs to be reappointed because she was appointed last year to fill a remainder of a term.
Go ahead.
So I would like to amend the motion to also nominate Kathy Croft for a full term on the Historic Sites Commission.
And I'll second that.
Was she on the committee before?
Yes,
She was on the committee.
Yes.
She was appointed to fill in for someone who resigned, which does happen on our boards. And, but that her term was completed at the end of this year, so now she needs to be completed. She needs to be appointed for a full term. I spoke to her, and she requested that we consider her to be appointed for a full term.
And her term goes until,
2017, I think.
okay, she lives in the community?
She sure does.
Yeah, she's the Democratic chairwoman.
She's Democratic chairwoman? Thank you.